everyone, and welcome to After GMS. It is Thursday, November 10th. I'm Tracy McCain here with Ed Matthews and Christian Morgan. We have a lot to talk about this morning. The focus will be on Nicole.
Yes, it will. Nicole, not a nice lady, bringing rain and wind to the Piedmont as early as this evening. I really think Friday, though, is the day to watch. Ed, we've got clouds on the increase right now as you look across the Piedmont, but where is Nicole right now? Well, it's sitting out over Florida with 60-mile-per-hour winds, moving west-northwest at about 14 miles per hour. It's just about 30 miles southwest of Orlando. Made landfall early this morning, maybe while you were sleeping, around 3 a.m. North Hutchinson Island, Florida. That's just south of Vero Beach, Florida. Came ashore as a Category 1 storm with 75 mile-per-hour winds. And ever since then, it's been weakening, and it will continue to weaken as it heads toward the Piedmont. So we're dealing with a much weaker storm, but we're still going to have rain and wind. We'll still have that storm and tornado risk to keep an eye on for tomorrow as well. The start of the rain could arrive as early as dinner time this evening in the form of a few showers. I think it's more so though as we go into your Thursday evening, and then throughout the day on Friday we'll have these rounds of rain that could be heavy at times. We'll have some gusty winds to deal with as well. The good thing about it is that it's in and out of here pretty quickly. By Saturday morning we're already starting to clear out as a cold front pushes by the Piedmont. So let's take it hour by hour. Here's Futurecast. Clouds continue to thicken up today. I cannot rule out a sprinkle, but I think for the most part, we stay dry, cloudy, and breezy for today. You see, as we go into this evening, those first initial showers from Nicole starting to move in. But by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, we're going to have these rounds of on and off rain with those rain bands that push through from Nicole. It's not going to rain all the time everywhere, but it will likely rain heavy for a while, then shut off, then rain again heavy for quite some time. And you'll notice it'll be warm and it'll be humid. Temperatures in the 70s, dew points in the upper 60s. And that's just fuel to help create some heavier downpours and possibly some storms or quick spin-ups that could pop off a quick tornado. That's one thing we'll be watching pretty closely for tomorrow. But the rain will shut off around 8 or 9 tomorrow night, and the weekend is saved. We'll be clearing out for your Saturday. Rain totals generally around 1 to 2 inches, but I think we should easily be able to handle that. We're dry, really in need of some rain. I think there could be some higher totals to our west in the foothills and maybe upwards of 3 inches or more in the mountains just based on the track of the system so far. Let's talk about wind real quick. You'll notice we've had a bit of a breeze so far this week, and that's because of that pressure gradient that's been produced by high pressure to our north keeping us dry, while Tropical Storm Nicole has kind of been getting its act together in the Atlantic. So today will be no different than that. We'll have some gusts on the order of about 20 miles per hour. But tomorrow could be a windy day of weather, especially in the evening when Nicole really pushes through, that center of low pressure pushes through. We could have some wind gusts on the order of 20 to 30, 35, maybe a few more 40 mile per hour gusts. But I think we're generally in that 20 to 30 range for tomorrow. Of course, I do think out of all of the impacts, rain, wind, I think the tornado risk is what we're going to monitor the closest for your Friday. Pretty significant risk of a few isolated tornadoes from the triad and points to the east. It's a much lesser risk if you go back to the west towards the foothills and mountains. So I think we can handle the rain. I don't foresee much in the way of flash flooding concerns. The wind is not crazy, but as you know, it doesn't take a whole lot to cause some power outages here. So I think the power outage risk, though, is at a minimum for tomorrow. I do think we'll watch closely for that tornado risk for tomorrow. Not a guarantee we get them, but it doesn't take a whole lot in a system like this to create a quick spin up that would be warned for a tornado. So we'll be on top of that all day for you. Use today as your prep day to kind of tie down all the loose things in the yards, tie down the trampolines, clean out the drains. We've had a lot of leaves that have been falling over the last couple of weeks, so clear those away from the drains and the gutters just in case of that heavy rain for tomorrow. Clouds on the increase today, mid-60s and breezy. Those showers arriving by dinner time this evening and into tonight. Friday will be our Nicole day to watch. Stay weather aware, have a way to get warnings if they're issued. And of course, we'll be on top of it for you on WFMY News 2 on Friday. We're clearing out in time for Saturday. Breezy and 60s Saturday. Take a look at Sunday, though, and next week. Winter chill arrives in the Piedmont, down to around freezing Sunday morning, 50 Sunday afternoon. That's it. And then upper 40s for Monday and heading into the middle of next week.
All right, so as you guys track the path of Nicole here, a lot of questions about power outages and the potential for that. Because we're getting a lot of rain and over 24 hours and a lot of wind, what do you think the odds of power outages would be?
Well, as Christian just said, it doesn't take a lot of wind to cause power outages. Usually the threshold is around 30, 35 miles per hour. So we think that there will be some scattered power outages,
Okay.
but we don't think it's going to be widespread.
Okay.
So just be prepared. If your lights stay on, you're blessed. But just be prepared just in case the power would go out.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot around here to knock out power in a few spots. So, you know, so a few gusts of 30, 35 miles per hour could certainly do that. But like Ed mentioned, I think the power outage risk is at, you know, pretty limited for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So tonight we should start being on guard.
Right. We're going to see the wind and the rain increase. Not so much wind today. It'll be a little breezy, but I would say definitely towards midnight and after midnight, that's when the rain really picks up. And we could have wind gusts late tonight, upwards of 30 miles per hour, and then 35, 40 mile per hour wind gusts tomorrow.
Yeah, you know, I think if you have plans tonight or something to do tonight, I think you're going to be fine. You know, just some scattered showers after dinner time. But as you go later into the night, you know, 11 o'clock, midnight, heading into tomorrow morning, you'll see that rain kind of pick up in intensity. You'll notice the wind picking up too.
Okay.
So tomorrow, your Friday's kind of it's a nasty,
Nasty
day. of
day.
weather.
Yeah. And then as we start to warm up, then we start to see that risk of tornadoes.
Right. You know, a lot of questions I've had over the last 24 hours is, well, you know, a few weeks ago when we had Ian, how come there was no tornado risk? It was just rain and wind. It was really just too cold for tornadoes.
Right.
Remember that day we were stuck in the 50s all day
Yeah.
long? Tomorrow's a different story. We're going to get up to around 70, and you'll notice it when you step outside tomorrow. You're going to say, wow, it doesn't feel like it's supposed to this time of the year. It's going to feel very tropical. It's going to be humid, dew points in the mid and upper 60s, and all of that is just fuel for those rain bands. And you have to already think, you know, the storm is already spinning, and just conceptually, you already have a better opportunity to get things to start to rotate. You add that fuel into the mixture, and I think we could have a few warnings tomorrow.
Yeah, and all of that has to do with the track of the system as well. The center of the leftover low, we think, will go up through the foothills. That's going to put us on that more dangerous east side of the system, and that's the reason we're really, you know, kind of talking up the possibility of maybe a few isolated tornadoes. It's always that eastern quadrant of the storm where you have the most dangerous weather and the greatest threat of severe weather.
And I would say this too, you know, we talked a lot about this morning on the Good Morning Show, and now, you know, here on this program, but we say none of this, you know, I cannot guarantee there's going to be a tornado. I just would rather have people, I don't want people to go and say, I had no idea that there was a risk of a tornado. I'd rather have people prepared and knowing and be watching. If it doesn't happen, great.
Right.
You know, but if it does, that you know, and that we were prepared and that we prepared you for that.
Yeah, and essentially the way I like to say it, we're always going to prepare you for the possibility and hope for the best, but the players are on the field. We just got to see how those weather elements come together to bring on, you know, an isolated tornado. It would be great if we went through the entire day without a tornado warning, but we got to let you know that certainly there is a distinct, in this case with the track of the storm, a distinct possibility.
Sure.
So if there's any way that the temperatures stay lower, you know, within like the 60 degree, it's a less of a chance.
Yes.
Okay. So, but that's not going to
Now,
happen.
just say, just say something wild. And I want to say,
out of this world.
we don't expect this to happen. But what if this thing hooked and went up the Carolina coast?
That'd be great.
That'd be great.
us.
That would be great in terms of wind and rain and severe weather threat. But we don't see that. If it were to go farther east, that would greatly limit our severe weather threat.
You know, the other thing too, you know, we're kind of getting down in the weeds here in the meteorology, but one thing we watch for, especially when these systems track our way, we did it with Ian. We sort of ran out of steam, I guess. You know, our rain totals didn't quite get up to what we had forecasted with Ian. You know, I'll be the first to admit that. We kind of overdid it on the rain totals. But what happened was, a lot of the convective bands or thunderstorms further south used up a lot of our moisture before that got here. So that could be a possibility too. You know, we may not see the higher rain totals, or the storm may weaken enough where we don't see wind gusts that high. There's a lot of players on the field, like Ed said, and a lot can change over the next 24 to 48 hours. But I think we're on go for all of those impacts that we'll be watching closely.
I love that analogy. You're like, there are a lot of players on the field, and I'm like, I'm glad I'm on your team. I'm also glad that, you know, tomorrow is a holiday, a day where we honor our veterans, but a lot of kids are not in school. A lot of people don't have to work, so that might be able to keep people off the roads.
Yeah, and as Christian talked about earlier, he mentioned this earlier, stay tuned to us on air and online, just in case, you know, a severe weather warning, a tornado warning is issued. We'll get that information to you. Of course, we always break programming whenever we have a tornado warning, because that means that there is rotation or potentially a tornado on the ground, and that's when you really, really need to start taking action. So stay close to us throughout the day tomorrow, and we'll keep you updated.
All right, sounds good. Well, we'll have one other check of the forecast in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and recap some of the morning headlines, though. Tropical storm Nicole, of course, bringing a lot of rain this way. So the town of Jamestown is getting ready and alerting you to their canceled services. Their Veterans Day service at Red Miller Park now canceled. The town says we could see strong storms and 3 inches of rain, so they're calling it off now to keep people safe. Several triad groups are participating in Operation Greenlight over the weekend. The initiative honors veterans. Some triad cities, counties, and some law enforcement agencies are glowing green to highlight the unique challenges military veterans and their families face. You can see some of the demonstrations that are lighting green in High Point. There's some in Greensboro and in Rockingham County as well. Well, new numbers show more people are dying on North Carolina roads. The State Highway Patrol reports there were more than 130 roadway deaths in 2021 than there were the year before. WFMY News 2's ITN's McMiller has a closer look at a new way that Greensboro police are trying to reduce the number of deadly crashes.
But don't be surprised if you see GPD officers handing out these safety tip brochures. It's their new educational way to hopefully cut down on traffic fatalities. So far this year in Greensboro, 32 people have died in crashes, 10 of them pedestrians. That's up from 2018, but down from the 18 pedestrian lives lost in 2021. One life taken is too many. That's why GPD has joined the State Department of Transportation's Watch for Me and See campaign. They'll use grant funds from the program to enforce road safety through education.
We're just kind of educating the public, both the motorist population, pedestrian and cyclists, of just some statutes and stuff to be aware of, sharing the responsibility for everybody to make sure this is what is expected of you as a pedestrian, a motorist, or a cyclist. And that way, it can just prevent a lot of things from happening so that at the end of the day, we're going home safely.
Here's what's expected of drivers and pedestrians. Walkers only cross the street at intersections with marked or unmarked crosswalks. If there is no sidewalk, walk in the direction of traffic. Wear reflective clothing when walking at night. And for drivers, follow the speed limit, avoid distractions, and make sure you're looking twice before making a turn. More than 900 of our state roadway deaths were caused by lane departures. And slow down in areas where pedestrians usually are, like near schools. And what's alarming about this is across our entire state, crash deaths are up, and 80% of those who died in these crashes are between the ages of 16 and 20.
All righty, 7-day forecast. All eyes are on Nicole as the remnant low moves up through our area tomorrow. But we'll start to get the effects later this evening and overnight as the wind and rain increases. Generally dry today with the clouds on the increase, a little breezy, and then the rain ramps up overnight. And we'll be on the lookout for maybe a tornado or two coming our way on Friday. Look at those temperatures. We'll warm into the muggy and sticky low 70s, but this system is going to scoot through rather quickly. The weekend looks dry. It'll be breezy on Friday, and then a cold front moves through and brushes in the coldest air of the season, really. We'll be up near 50 on Sunday and into the mid and upper 40s by Monday and Tuesday, and some morning lows there by Monday and maybe even Tuesday, dropping down into the upper 20s.
Going to get cold.
Yes, it is.
Pay for that 80-degree day we had earlier this week.
I figured it would come back around.
Payback.
But not in the form of like a severe weather day on Friday and then super cold temperatures over the weekend. That's like serious payback.
Yeah,
We got the
big
whole run
switch.
next 7 days.
Boy, you have to stay on your toes forecasting the weather around here. It's so changeable.
It really is. All right, well, we've got everything you need to know about Nicole and her track. These guys are keeping you updated all the time on WFMYnews2.com. Join us for the Good Morning Show at 9 a.m. We'll have a complete wrap and a look ahead to what Nicole may bring our way. And then we'll see you on the Good Morning Show tomorrow as well. I'm trying to think of like the order of succession of things. All right, we'll see you guys later. Take care.
See you.